442-9253.
Welcome back to the What's Cooking program, the nation's food, wine, restaurant, travel, and entertainment show, the weekend edition, broadcasting from beautiful Santa Rosa, California, in the heart of Sonoma County. We're at the Fountain Grove Inn and Conference Center. Ken Murakami and his great staff. Once again, the great hosts that are here. They even had a room waiting for you, Paul Stern, and I felt bad. Luckily, they needed a couple extra rooms for the weekend, so they got them because your room was given up, Paul.
Thank you for letting me know in case I wanted to change my plans at the last minute.
That's correct. You don't have a room. Sorry.
I could bunk with Larry, perhaps.
Larry Van Alst.
You're always invited.
Oh, that's very good. I'll bring my sleeping bag.
I have a garage.
Larry Van Alst.
with the cat box, I would imagine, too.
From the What's Cooking on Wine Sonoma report, offering his garage to the great radio broadcaster,
Larry's
Paul
garage
Stern.
might not be all that bad. Wait a second. Larry's a pretty interesting guy.
Yeah.
You never know what I might find.
Told me he's been neating it clean for some time, so at least you get a space out for the sleeping bag.
Are we going to talk a little wine?
Yes, we are, ladies
Thank
and
you.
gentlemen. It's the big Sonoma County Wine Weekend. And let's talk about this, Larry Van Alst. We'll get to our first guest. This is an event that has evolved over the years. You had the wine, what is it, the Sonoma County Wine, the Sonoma County Vintners Association and the Sonoma County Wine Growers kind of getting together to put on one huge event now.
They pulled all together. This event has been going for quite a few years. It used to be involved with the symphony, and it was the San Francisco Symphony that would come up and do this. It was a great event, and it was held out. They did a big party out at Sonoma-Cutrer. They always had fireworks. It was spectacular. But what it's evolved into now with the two organizations, the Sonoma Valley and the Sonoma County Vintners Association coming all together, is even more spectacular. The venue they use, the McMurray Ranch, is something that you just can't believe until you experience it. It is as beautiful a spot as you can find. Wonderful food, wonderful wine. It is the wine country weekend, and that's what we call it now.
Now, joining us here on our broadcast, Tom Hind is here. We mentioned the president, the director of winemaking at Flowers Vineyard. And before we get into that, Tom, I'm talking to Larry Van Alst about this, and I might as well go to you. You are a board member, and that doesn't mean that you're not excited about everything. You are an excited board member of the Sonoma County Vintners Association. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Michael. Yes, I am a member of the Sonoma County Vintners Board, and it's a group of vintners who got together and organized. And as Larry said, our signature event was the Sonoma Showcase, and it involved a lot of food, a lot of wine, a lot of happy people in wine country. And we realized after working with the Sonoma Valley Vintners and Growers that this event could be more powerful, with both of us working together. And we aligned ourselves to this Labor Day weekend to allow us to extend the events throughout the weekend, and it kicks off on Thursday last night, and it goes all the way till Monday, and it's just a fabulous place to be. Paul, if you're there, I met you at the showcase about 4 or 5 years ago.
No, I do remember.
Yeah,
He was the guy sneaking that last
You
glass
knock
of
it off.
Pinot
You
at
knock
closing
it-
time. Remember that guy?
But it was that type of event where people would come together and they'd enjoy each other and they enjoy Sonoma County wine, and it's just great to be working with the two organizations, putting on one beautiful event in Sonoma.
So this event, the history of it is the two organizations got together and really put on this one huge event, right? The symphony is no longer part of it, but you have this incredible auction. You got this incredible taste in the meadow at McMurray Ranch. You got these great wine dinners and wine lunches where you really go out to the wineries and get to meet guys like yourself, Tom Hind, and get maybe a little tour. Maybe you're doing a little preparation. You got a special chef there, or maybe you yourself are cooking for us. It's really a one-on-one time for people that love wine to meet the stars of the wine industry.
It is. There's so much to do. There's there's winery lunches, there's winery dinners, there's winemakers throughout the venues, there's grape growers that have been in this county for 5 generations, whose families settled here, who are now a key part of our industry. What we realized is that the best auction was taking place on Labor Day weekend down in Sonoma Valley, and they had really learned how to throw an auction at the Sonoma Valley Vintners and Growers, and we were doing probably the best all-around tasting of Sonoma. So by putting these two events together and recognizing each of them as sort of specialty events, we've formed one event that no one should miss.
And unlike other events, this event, and the other events have this somewhat, but you really make this readily available where our listeners can go to, if they want to, come up here, stay. They could go just to a lunch, to a dinner. They could go to the taste on Saturday. They could go to the auction, or they can buy the complete event package. So there's no pressure to buy the whole package, although I would recommend that strongly. But you can go to individual events if you want to just go to the dinners.
Well, that's absolutely right. I mean, you mentioned that there are 14 separate AVAs in Sonoma County, so there's 14 sets of wines and 14 sort of different regions that all come together but are all unique, and you can pick and choose your food, your lodging, and your wine for the weekend, and incorporate that into your entire kind of trip to Sonoma, if it will.
Hey, Tom, for those out there listening that are interested in maybe perhaps the most comprehensive look at the Sonoma Valley, would this be the particular occasion to take advantage of?
You know, it sure would, because you could come up on a Thursday and involve yourself with some winery lunches and some winery dinners, and you could go to a variety of events that include the Saturday Taste of Sonoma, where you have 200 wineries pouring with guest chefs, featured pairings, and you can do that at McMurray Ranch, and that'll take place all day tomorrow. And it's just a fabulous way to really meet winemakers, meet the chefs, meet the people behind the wines and the food, and enjoy the pairings that are set up out there in an absolutely stunning location.
And I think the website to go to, along with of course, Sonoma County Vintners Association, is SonomaWineCountryWeekend.com, I think, is the official website. Am I right, Tom?
That's it, SonomaWineCountryWeekend.com.
And you can check it all out. Now, what's going on at Flowers Vineyard? Because you've been there for some time, making your mark on this, one of the great winemakers. And under your guidance there as president and director of winemaking, you mentioned one of your students is down there. We just talked about Lucas and Llewellyn. We had a commercial there. Megan is the winemaker. She had her tutelage under your auspices there, right?
Yeah, she did. Megan was our enologist, and her background is in vineyard soil science, and she's become a very good winemaker. And it was her chance to go off and work with another cold climate producer down on the Central Coast and make wines for someone else.
You say cold climate because at Flowers, you're out on the Sonoma Coast area, out in the area where it does get cooler. It's been a very cool year. How has that affected your wines?
Well, what it's done is it's put the harvest back about 2 to 3 weeks in general. So normally where we'd start the harvest sooner, we're allowing those grapes more hang time, more time on the vine to develop. Although we've had some challenges farming to make sure things that are not good for the grapes, like mildews and molds, weren't developing in this cold climate. We've had to leaf, we've had to allow sunlight and air into the vine itself. We're now hopeful that this will be a very high quality vintage because the time spent on the vine during the growing season.
Hang in with us. I want to ask you a couple of questions about that because you just mentioned something that piqued my curiosity. You doing all right, Larry Van Elst?
I'm happy.
Paul Stern, are you hanging in there? You doing
Oh,
all right?
we're just fine. We're hanging like good fruit.
I like to thank you, Paul. I'm not harvesting. All right, Tom Hind is here, the president and the director of winemaking at Flowers Vineyard, also a member of the board of directors of the Sonoma County Vintners Association, and the other organization, Tom, is the Sonoma Valley Vintners and Growers, right?
That is correct, the Sonoma Valley Vintners and Growers.
All right, so we're going to take a break, come back with more. It's the big Sonoma Wine Country Weekend. Check it out, the website, SonomaCountyWineWeekend.com. I'm Michael Horn, Paul Stern, Larry Van Elst. What's Cooking Weekend Edition, Labor Day weekend, everybody. Glad to have you on board with us on CRN.